I'm Just a Little Toxic Podcast. We're back. I'm your host, Kold. Make sure you guys hit Let's Win Now Today at gmail.com so you can support. We're live at the Meet and Greet the Candidates event. And I have Mr. Wade Herring with me, who's running for Congress in the 1st District in Georgia. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Definitely having a good time learning so much about all the candidates today.
It's a great event to be with everyone this evening.
Definitely. Now, Mr. Herring, what's inspiring you to run for 1st District Congress?
I'm running for Congress because we need a representative who represents everybody in the district. We need a representative who puts the families of the district first. We need someone who puts the families ahead of personal interest and political interest. On January the 6th, 2021, the incumbent, Buddy Carter, voted to overturn the election. He violated his oath of office. He demonstrated that he cannot be trusted. When I was a boy, my parents, if they would catch me in a small lie, would say, "Son, if we can't trust you in small things, how can we trust you in big things?" On January the 6th, the incumbent demonstrated he cannot be trusted in the biggest thing, our election and the peaceful transfer of power. It's time for him to come home, and that's why I'm running.
I already feel the fire. I already feel the fire, Mr. Herring. Now, a little bit about your background, your volunteering, your community work. What are some things you've been doing in the 1st District?
So I grew up in Macon, Georgia. My dad had been in the Army and got out and started to work with vocational rehabilitation, helping disabled people get training and education and jobs. My mother, who is still alive, was a public school teacher, taught high school English for 30 years. So from my parents, I learned about the value of public service. They were frontline public servants, and I could see that they made a difference in ordinary people's lives. From my parents, I learned from whom much is given, or to whom much is given, much is expected in return. I started work when I was 14 years old, dug irrigation ditches in a pecan grove down in Perry, Georgia. I worked one summer on a tobacco farm, and when we weren't in the fields, we were in the woods, forking up pine straw to bale it, to send to nurseries and garden centers. When I got to law school, I was highly motivated because I never wanted to do that kind of work again.
Right.
But the point is, I've done that kind of work, and I know what it means to do that kind of work. Went away to college, came back to law school at the University of Georgia, met my wife, Susan, of 39 years. People ask me, "Wade, are you going to compromise?" I've been married for 39 years. We have 2 kids, a son who lives in Marietta, a daughter who lives in Winston-Salem. My wife deserves most of the credit for them. We came to Savannah in 1985. I started practicing law, helping mostly small and medium-sized businesses solve problems and do the right things. And I got involved in the community, the Frank Callan Boys and Girls Club, Georgia Legal Services, to help low-income Georgians have access to justice and opportunities out of poverty, Georgia Appleseed to stop the school-to-prison pipeline, citizen advocacy to make long-term relationships with disabled people so they have an advocate, and also my church. I'm a Methodist, and my church has been very important to me. So those are some of the things that I've done, and I consider my candidacy to be an extension of my service to the community, both as a professional but also as a volunteer.
Wow, public service just sounds kind of natural to you when you talk about your family background and your climb to where you are right now. What's your platform right now? And what are some things that the people can see you out doing and get involved with you in right now?
So number one, voting rights. It's the very reason I'm running, is because of what happened on January 6th. The following day, one of my colleagues came to my office and said, "Well, it can't get worse than this." And I looked right at her and I said, "Yes, it can." And we saw Senate Bill 202 pass in the Georgia General Assembly. And that makes it harder for all of us to vote, but by all means, go vote this primary season. So I'm for protecting voting rights at the federal level. And if we can't do the big thing, let's at least pass the John Lewis bill and restore Department of Justice oversight to voting changes. Healthcare. We all know now about underlying conditions. In our part of the world, that's obesity, diabetes, and hypertension. We can do a better job on the front end of people's lives, prevent those diseases, manage those diseases. People will have more productive lives, and everybody's health care costs come down. Education. Let's start earlier. Let's start with young kids. And yes, let's have federal funds for daycare. That's an economic issue. That's a family issue. If mom and daddy can't get care for the child, they can't go work. Right. Affordable housing. Let's make sure that we're in a crisis there now. The federal government can do something about that. And after yesterday, we know the importance of reproductive rights. If it looks like the Supreme Court is going to do what it's going to do, then we need the Congress to pass legislation to make sure that women have the right to choose, that decision is between them and their doctor, not the government interfering. And one final thing, let's admit the reality of climate change and let's get ready for it. And we know that's especially important here on the coast.
Wow, you basically laid out your campaign and letting everybody know what's going on with Wade Herring. So I want to know, how do you beat Buddy Carter?
I beat Buddy Carter by telling the truth, by holding him accountable. I beat him with my record of service, and I beat him with hard work, and I beat him with a campaign, a real campaign. It's going to take more than enthusiasm. It's going to take more than wishful thinking. We've put together a campaign with the staff and consultants and mail and television and yard signs and knocking on doors and all the hard work you have to do to connect to the voter. Mr. Carter has never been tested. He's getting ready to run for the 5th time. He's never been put to the test. He's got $2 million sitting in his campaign chest. It's going to take somebody who has an organization that can take him on and do the hard work. I've got the organization. I'm putting him to the test, and I'm sending him home in November.
Wow, I like your fire. I like your fire, Mr. Herring. I like your morals and I like your values. I definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing with the people. How can they get a hold of you?
So, www.wadeherringforcongress.com. And then once you go to the website, we're on any number of social media platforms. I've got over 17,000 Twitter followers. I have TikTok videos with over 100,000 views. Now, if you had told me a year ago I was going to have TikTok videos and Twitter followers, I would have said, ain't no way.
Right.
But that's what it takes to have a real campaign. And the office is at 1510 Drayton Street in Savannah, corner of Drayton and 32nd. Feel free to stop by and say hello.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. I appreciate you, Mr. Wade Herring, coming in, running for 1st District Congress in Georgia, man of the people, and he's on TikTok. So yeah, you got the kids too. Mm-hmm. Make sure you vote. We got more coming up. It's on Just a Little Toxic Podcast. Make sure you guys hit Let's Win Now today at gmail.com so you can show some love.